Awesome. Well, welcome everybody to another episode of Alpha After Dark. I'm Chad, and Charles is my constant co-host. And this week we're very excited to have Bad Shogun with us.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Glad to have you on the show tonight.
How was your guys' day?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Just got through a work day. I did actually have to go into town. It was like 2 hours of driving for a 15-minute errand. So yeah, the driving wasn't so much fun, but other than that, it was a good day.
Do you live on the outskirts of town? Why do you have to drive so far?
Yeah, so I'm in a suburb, about an hour away from the company that I work for, and there was something required for me to go into the office today, and it literally took 15 minutes, so I was just in and out.
Is it weird being back in the office after not being in for so long? I mean, working from home for such a long time.
Yeah, I've actually been a work from home person now for, I want to say, about 6 years, long before I even started working for this latest company. When I was still with my old company, they allowed me to go full remote after being with them for about a year, and that enabled me to move my family out to where I live currently. Got out of California and into a nice, much more affordable area of the country, and it's been really good. During that time that I was still working for them, I would fly back in about once a month for a couple days, because the face to face was still pretty important. But then it was interesting. I switched jobs. I started working for this latest company right in the middle of COVID, and everybody was work from home only. And it was only, I want to say, a few months ago that people started going back into the office. And I've had a couple days in the office, and it's pretty cool. And I would definitely go in more often if the drive wasn't so bad. But I mean, it's really like adding an extra 3 hours to my day to be able to make that happen, instead of just being able to get to my desk and be productive from an earlier point in time.
Wow, that's pretty crazy to have to drive that far just to do that. I mean, I live 5 minutes from work, so I hop out my door at 7:45 and I'm at work by 7:50 for an 8 o'clock shift. So I
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, I mean, here I'm saying this, and the thing is that for the majority of the of the last 100 years, people have been commuting into work. It's just like it's always been a standard thing, and I think it's only been recently within the past 15 years that remote work has actually become viable. And with my old company, I was one of only two people to actually be allowed to be able to work full remote. And of course, I was ahead of the curve at that point, and now it's just become a standard thing ever since COVID. But I mean, commuting was just a part of life up until pretty recently, and it's just kind of shocking to go back to it.
How are you gonna make a shadowy supercoder commute? That's not right. Your times are better spent in the shadows and tapping away. You don't need to be in traffic and dealing with all that.
Uh,
We don't need you out there. It's too dangerous for you. It's too much of a liability for the company. So we're gonna keep you indoors from now on. You can't drive anymore.
yeah, it works.
It just
It
heard.
works for
that's
me.
funny.
I think
Well,
most of us feel that way at this point. All my colleagues. A friend of mine that I work with over there recently moved to Texas, actually, and I was really interested in the area that you live, Austin. I think my friend moved. He actually ended up buying a farm He got himself like 24 acres and a great house out there for like a really really good deal. And he's
Where's that near?
I want to say it's I think it's northwest of Austin. It's like it's in a pretty green area, but
Okay.
it's still pretty far away from like the main city, and it's like in a really nice rural area.
That's where to be. In the cities get a little, I mean, just like anywhere else, the cities are a little congested and stuff like that. But out in the hill country, out where I'm by San Antonio and Bernie Hill Country and all that,
Hmm.
it's just beautiful out here. But also I am on the outskirts of the city, so I'm kind of at like the midpoint of the two. Um, I want to get land like somewhere outside, but I mean that's idealistic. At the moment, I'm not in that position to be buying huge plots of land that are as big as I want. So I'm saving up still.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good goal, man. Having your own set of property like that away from everybody. I'm in the city, so I am constantly with everybody.
Yeah. But
But
Texas is the place, dude. Texas is the
uh,
place to do it.
yeah,
And
my wife would go there. Of any of the places in the States we left Canada, we would go to Texas.
right on.
Y'all really should come visit sometime. She really would like it, I think.
Hey, I mean, it's on my list. I got New Orleans and I got Houston are two of the places I want to go. So,
Not bad.
what did you do today, Charles?
Did some work for Merck. Did some work that Merck needed done. Took care of some stuff that I've been meaning to take care of for AlphaShares. Besides that, it has to do with project onboarding. Trying to get everything organized as well as we can, and to make our collaborative effort as a team stand out. And so we don't step on each other's toes. So I wanted to make a very clear system. So, and that's what I did. So it's a beautiful thing. I wish y'all could see it.
Well, that's quite different than me. Today, I built a greenhouse for the wife. So I threw it in chat a little earlier, but she's been quite the green thumb, and we bought our house this year. So now she's full in.
That's awesome.
How big is it?
I think it's about 4 feet wide. No, about 6 feet wide and about 12 feet long, 12, 18 feet long, I think.
I'll have to check the photos out. That's cool.
Yeah, no, it's cool. So, anyways, I guess we should talk a little bit about AlphaShares. I know that's the whole point of the show. Everyone wants to hear about the community and the people in it. One question that's always actually, I've heard the story a little bit, but John, how did you meet Tyler? Like, what brought you guys together and then decided like, hey, we want to make a project here?
So, actually met Tyler through a mutual friend at the time, who was doing some work for him, and he he was running into some issues on the project that he was doing for Tyler, and asked me to help on it, and so I was able to step in and give him a hand, and then we ended up all meeting for dinner and just discussed various business ideas, crypto projects, and all sorts of other things. And I had just been really, really wanting to get into Web3 and build something real. And Tyler had this idea to build a Web3 project that was actually tokenizing real estate. And he had come to the conclusion that that was just a really large project and would require a huge amount of capital. And that led to us thinking, well, how do we do this incrementally? How do we get to the point where we can make that happen? And out of that was really Alpha Nodes born out of that conversation and out of that dinner. And Tyler and I just clicked right away. We tell each other this all the time. Like, he's the only person that I've ever worked with that is able to keep up with me in terms of his work ethic. I mean, I kind of work like a maniac. I mean, I essentially have two jobs, and I'm just really constantly driven. And Tyler is too. And Tyler's been an entrepreneur essentially his whole young life. I mean, he's a lot younger than I am, but he's already just killing it. And I mean, he's kind of the really the business partner that I'd been waiting for a long time. And it's worked out really, really well. And we see eye to eye on so many things, and our philosophies uh, are the same for all the things that really matter when it comes to being business partners. And it's been working great. I couldn't be happier with my business partner on this. I think you're muted, Chad.
I guess I was. I'm very interested. You were fractionalizing real estate. That's what he wanted to do, and you guys settled on the reflection for the bootstrapping. Was there any other conversations in that dinner that you guys had kicked around ideas that might have changed what AlphaShares turned into?
Oh, lots of other DeFi projects. I mean, I was always about building things that are actually like producing value. And um, I mean, it was just project after project. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to build an auto compounder. Want to let's do a DEX. Let's do a fork of this project, a fork of that project. And we realized that obviously we can't do everything all at once. And the number one most important thing was really just building a community. And we knew that no matter what we did, we just had to go in and be good actors and be honest with people. Like, this is what we're building. Um, we are in this with you guys. We've also been in a lot of projects previously. I mean, I've actually been in and out of crypto since late 2014, but I wasn't really in a place at the time where I like fully understood the magnitude of what Bitcoin and Ethereum were. And it's one of my biggest regrets was that I didn't just jump in and go all in Bitcoin and Ethereum when Bitcoin was under $300 and Ethereum was like just getting started. I mean, really. So the the where was I? Yeah, so we knew that no matter what we did, uh, building a community was number one, and we couldn't be happier with the way that things have turned out. Really. So yeah, there's lots of other ideas for other projects, but that was always going to be secondary to getting the community together.
I remember during the first AMA that I participated in, it was after the token launch. The first one you held after the token launch. So I don't know if it was the very first one, but it was the first one after I joined up in the community. And I was blown away by both Tyler and your, I don't even know how to describe it. You just seem like genuine people. I don't know how to describe it any better than that. You seemed extremely genuine, and it just came across, especially when Tyler speaks. You can just hear it in his voice that he doesn't really sound like he's trying to sell you something. And then when you speak, you're definitely not trying to sell anything. You're just talking about like what the products you built or whatever you designed. So that was I think that was one of the first things that drew me into the community.
Right on.
I remember Broke Chick from that AMA, and I remember that. I remember two things: him getting called Broke Chick,
Yeah.
and then and where has he been, by the way? We need to find that guy.
He's been popping in here and there.
Okay.
He's
He
our
he
film
said yes.
acquisition specialist.
Yeah, he said
Oh yeah.
yesterday he is grinding. He really wants to get an album recorded and he wants to drop it on the AlphaShares marketplace.
Dude,
That
we'll do
is
it.
his goal. So
We will do
Love
it.
it.
Yeah.
yeah, no, I mean, the community for me too was huge. Like I met Merck in a different place and I literally found this community off of Twitter. I think they were doing the OGs off of Twitter and I popped in and I missed the OGs. I didn't win. I got nothing. And then Merck was like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" And I was like, "I saw the Twitter thing." And he's like, "Man, I need help." And so he hired me there and I've been like, it clicks. Everybody here works hard and
Yeah.
yeah, John, you and Tyler both, like, you guys are a great model to look up to. So I really appreciate you guys throwing that out there.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Yeah. I mean, really, I mean, I had just come off of a couple of I've been rugged. I've been in projects where the devs disappear, where the devs are just completely um, oblivious, like they don't care whatsoever about something that anything that's going on. And I was just thinking, well, that's not going to be how I run it. I'm going to run this thing the way that I would want a project to be. And so that's really what we've been doing here. Um, and I'm not the kind of person to go half-assed on anything. Nothing that I do is going to be any short of my best. Like everything is going to be my best work going forward. And
It's interesting you say that because I had a question written down for you. And I'm a little bit of a guy. I found some stuff out. You have been recognized with a few different awards now for your quality of design, your speed, how quickly you get things to market, and just how creative you are in this space. Why do you have that drive to be the best? Like what is it that you just, keeps you wanting to be that forefront person here?
you know, for the longest time, I wouldn't have been able to give you like a really concise or really insightful answer other than I just like to become the best version of myself that I can. But I will say that within the last year and a half, I became aware of there's something called Toltec wisdom and the four agreements. And I really realized through reading that book and getting an understanding of the four agreements that was really kind of the key to life and something that I had maybe unconsciously already been working towards in a few different areas. So the four agreements are: don't take things personally, be impeccable to your word, always do your best, and don't make assumptions. And always do your best and be impeccable to your word. So be impeccable to your word is being true to yourself too. And always doing your best means that anything that you do at any given time, if you're putting your best effort forth, then you've given it all. And that's really what it's about for me, is just giving my all the time. And I know that if I'm super tired, at 2 o'clock in the morning, my best at that point is not going to be the same best that I can give when I have been rested up and I'm feeling really good physically and have a lot of mental clarity. But I'm still putting my best effort in at that time. And that's just, the four agreements. I think that if you can manage to follow them, which is impossible to do all the time, but you give it your best to follow the four agreements, that is, I think, part of the key to a better life, and not only for yourself but people around you as well. I think that you can really set an example, and that again is something that Tyler and I have spoken about, and we're really kind of on the same page for that. And I saw a question on the stream: have we ever disagreed? And the answer is yes. And I can give you the example. The example is the first release of the white paper. There was a delay on getting the white paper out because there were a lot of questions that we had out to some advisors on different areas of what we were doing. And that's the other thing with Tyler and I, is that we're the first to admit when we don't know something, and we're always going to be seeking out experts in whatever field and whatever thing that we need help with, because that's just how you get better at things. And that's how you make sure that it's going to be a great product. So we had a lot of outstanding questions, and there was a lot of revisions going on with the white paper. And during this time, there was also a whole lot of pressure coming from multiple areas to get this out the door. And the disagreement came in the way that we released it. I did not want to release it until it was in the state that you see it now, with the beautiful design that Meld Designs DeFi did for us. I really didn't want to release it until then. But there was Tyler had made the decision to make an announcement, say, hey, we're going to release this within the next 48 hours. And it was still being revised at that point, and no design had been made for it. And I was very, very unhappy with that, and I vehemently disagreed on that. And that really led to us getting into the discussion about principles and the four agreements, and how for us to continue on with this and be successful longer term, that we needed to always base our decisions on principles, and we need to have those principles set in stone. And I think that the four agreements are probably the very best place to start for that. And it was a disagreement. We got through it. End result was we brought Mel on board, who couldn't be happier with. Our designer that has done the design for the decks, he's amazing, and I couldn't be happier with the work that he did there. But he's also not available anywhere near as much as Mel is, and so and Mel does amazing work. Believe me, she's awesome. So anyway, end result was we were able to bring Mel on board. She did this awesome white paper design for us, and now she's working with us 20 hours a week on staff, and that's awesome. Couldn't be happier than that. So in the end, a lot of positive things came out of that, and I think the biggest positive out of it is that we now have a more solid foundation on which that we're going to be making our decisions going forward. So I know that was a really long-winded answer, but I think that it was important to get it out there.
No, I mean, for sure. I love the fact that you guys can just speak up and be honest and say that as a team, sometimes we disagree what the best course of action is for the business, and we work through that. That's important for people to know. If they just thought it was always just smooth sailing, like that's just not how businesses work, and that's not how people work. There's always going to be someone with an answer that they think's a little bit better. So you guys being able to step up and work through that is important.
Yeah. That's how we get better.
Mm-hmm. You sound tired. Someone said that last night on the AMA. I know that after like a long week, I seen this a couple times when you finish something and like I can almost see it through the screen. You feel so accomplished. You pop in chat, you're dropping a bunch of alpha, like, we could just tell that you're happy with something you've done. And I heard you're a bit of a whiskey guy. What's your poison? Is it whiskey, rye, bourbon?
That's funny. This is going to launch into a whole other discussion here, and I'm excited about this one. All right. So, as far as spirits go, yeah, I love whiskeys. So, bourbon, drink Woodford Reserve. I love that. On the Irish whiskey side, Tullamore Dew is hard to beat in terms of value. It's great, it's smooth, and it's inexpensive. And then I like Scotch. I really like Scotch. And I think that the best value in Scotch is going to be the 15-year Glenfiddich Solera. That is, I mean, the price has been creeping up quite a bit lately, but I think it's still under $70 a bottle USD, and it's better than lots of whiskeys, lots of Scotch that I've had that cost like 2 or 3 times that. So I think that's the best value over there. I'm always after like the value spirits that I can have like in my bar. And you mentioned rye too. Was never really a rye whiskey person, but my brother. So I have a younger brother. He's about 10 years younger than me, and he's a bartender at a pretty high-end restaurant. And he's not just a bartender; he's actually like the full manager over there. And he's created all sorts of excellent drinks. I mean, he's had articles and things written about his drinks over there. But he came up with this one. It's his version of the Black Manhattan, and that is my favorite drink. I will choose that over just about anything except for a like the I want to say the Glenfiddich Solera. Like if that's available, I'll drink that. Otherwise, I want that Black Manhattan. That thing is just awesome. That's
I really started my spirit journey with Scotch. I went straight to Scotch from being that young kid who would just have your beers and then maybe mix your drinks with the Coke. But when I first got into spirits, Scotch and Glenfiddich was my choice. So I actually agree with you because I had the 21 year, which has like apple cinnamon in it. And the 15 is it's a lot smoother. I think the 15 in that area is definitely my favorite. There's actually one, it's a Dalwhinnie. I think it's a 12-year Dalwhinnie. It's a white box. It's my favorite. I had it as a going away gift for a job one year. And that is a very good Scotch. It's probably not the value. I think it's around it. Well, okay, so it's like $5 US, so it's like $100 Canadian. But it's good. I treat myself once in a while with that one. But yeah, no.
Cool.
Since then, I go to bourbon though. Bourbon is now my favorite. I love a good wild turkey.
Right on. Yeah, if you can, please send me a link to that Scotch. I have Total Wine pretty close by. I'll go check it out.
I will do that for
Thanks.
sure.
Yeah.
What about you, Charles? Do you partake in the spirits at all?
No, I used to drink more often, and I just don't have a desire anymore. I like to do other things, partake in other. I like to smoke a little bit, puff a little bit of the smokage. I've done that, like to help with anxiety and stuff for years. Besides that, I used to love drinking when I was younger, like college age and stuff like that. And little by little, I just lost the drive for it. And now, like if I were to drink a beer, like a glass right now, a glass of anything, I'd feel fine. And then I'd most likely feel sick to my stomach after like one beer. And you would think I drank like a whole case. Like it's ridiculous. I don't know. It's um, my mom thinks I might be allergic to alcohol because her dad was allergic to alcohol. So that very could well be the case. But besides that, I just like to chill, like a good water. I like to drink Ozarka.
I love a good alkaline water.
Yeah, I need to get into alkaline. People were telling me about that.
Oh, there was another question in chat here for you, Bad, from somebody who knows absolutely nothing about a computer. Oh boy. How complicated would it be to learn computer programming self-taught? Ooh. Seems like a challenge.
Oh, well, I think that there's definitely a lot of resources to help you with that now. Udemy is a fantastic resource. You can get courses for like $12 USD. They're always on sale. You just got to look for the codes. And of course, YouTube. I mean, you can learn anything on YouTube. But it just comes down to your personal drive, really. Like, how driven are you to get through it and push on when things get hard? Like, if you are, then you can do anything. And just seek out like the beginner stuff and look for YouTube channels that are dedicated to helping you become a professional programmer from a beginner stage all the way to the end. And it's never really the end, but it's to the point where you can say, yeah, I can actually take that job on and I can deliver. And when you can deliver, that's when you can start really calling yourself a pro because you're getting paid for it, really. And so just keep humble, like stay humble, but confident at the same time. That's another thing that I like to keep in mind for myself is mastery of a subject requires both confidence and humility. And and for me, I'm humbled all the time because I'm constantly being challenged, and I just continue pushing through because I know that if I bang my head against the wall hard enough and long enough, then eventually I'll get it figured out and I'll get through it. And that's just been kind of my life for a long time. So yeah, you could do it.
That's awesome. So there you go, Pig Boy. I hope that helps you. And, I hope we see you on the Alpha team as a dev one day, self-taught. That would be awesome.
That'd be great. Hey, I was gonna ask real quick, John. I guess I have to ask at this point. It's today we're recording is Thursday, May 12th, in the evening. The UST depegging happened. Depegging, I'm gonna call it now. Depegging. And
that could
do
be.
you have any comments on like that Luna being under ascent and everything that's gone on?
I think that it's pretty terrible, and I think that it's likely that bad actors saw a chance to really attack crypto, and Terra Luna was the weakest link there, and in many different ways. I mean, you look at the way that the crisis was responded to, and I think that was a very poor response in every way possible. But it was also one of those projects that was just like too good to be true. I mean, that was still based on Ponzi-nomics, just at a massive, much larger scale, and it was not too big to fail. And the only thing that I hope for now is that the pain inflicted on the market as a whole ends soon, because it's dragging everything down, because they continue to liquidate their positions in all of these different layer ones, and it's hurting everybody. And it's awful. I mean, I feel terrible for all the people who have lost a lot of money on Terra. and Luna UST, but man, like this is just awful, and I feel really bad for everybody who's been affected by it.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
had to bring it up. I didn't mean to bring the mood down, but I had
No,
to.
no,
I wanted to cover it because the markets are bloody right now, so
yeah,
we had to bring it up. But we're focused on better times here at Alpha, coming times. And with that, Chad, what do you got next?
I,
And then I jump it up on Chad.
no, it's fine. I had something I missed a little earlier, and it kind of goes to show through this whole conversation because you hear John, even in that answer, um, I've looked at a lot of your social media, and you get to kind of get to know somebody, and you form an opinion based on the things they post, like what's important to them. Are they posting the same kind of stuff over? And you can kind of get an idea what their values are. And something I noticed about you, John, is leadership matters to you a lot. You are constantly almost critiquing what bad leaders do and what good leaders should do.
Mm.
Why do you hold that so personally? What is it for you that makes what a leader should do in whether it's in this space or just in life? Like, why is that something that really, really matters to you?
wow. um,
Yeah, I did research.
yeah, all right, yeah, and I know what you're talking about too. Yeah, you know, um, leaders have enormous responsibility, and if you're not approaching, if you're in a position of leadership, then you are a servant first and foremost, and that responsibility that you have is to ensure the well-being of everybody who is with you as much as you can possibly do, and to set the best possible example. um and I've had the fortune to work for really good leaders and the misfortune to work for really bad leaders, and I can tell you, I mean, there's nothing better than being on a great team that is working well together, and the leader is there with you in the trenches, and is looking after you first. That's the thing. And I've had personal ups and downs really around this my whole life, and anytime that I've been in this situation, I've always tried to take that approach of being a servant first, and really looking out for everybody as much as possible.
Serve into leadership. Yep. No, I dig it. We've done multiple courses at work on leadership as well in the different styles. And I definitely would say that myself. I always try for that. So it's really inspiring to hear you just coming to that naturally.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Well, I think we've been here for quite a while. I'm going to channel my inner Keck for my last question for you. So I hope you're ready. It's a bit of a tough one, but obviously everybody knows what we're up to at Alpha. We're going to do a lot of different things, but the one thing that is our, I don't know, I guess you would call it our crown jewel that we are focusing on first is that marketplace. And we are going to try and compete with OpenSea for the business that's out there. OpenSea is dominating the marketplace, but anybody who uses it, it's not intuitive. There's rugs. People are getting banned while they're trying to just put their art on there because the customer service is so poor. It's easy to say we're going to be better because they don't set the bar very high. But with Alpha, what do you think the biggest struggle is going to be once the marketplace is actually launched? Like, not the technicals, not anything to do with that, but when this marketplace hits and it's out there and it's usable, what's the biggest struggle we're going to face?
Oh, so it's definitely Yeah, I'm the first to admit. I mean, it's a fairly saturated market, and what we're doing is we're taking a different approach on a lot of things. Um, I also have quite a bit of experience with e-commerce in my background, and in the end, I mean, an NFT marketplace is e-commerce. So as far as managing like the e-commerce side of it, you know, I can always get better at everything that I'm doing, but I think that I have enough of the fundamentals that will be able to get us going in the right direction. Um, as far as challenge, like real challenges, I mean, really, like why list with us instead of OpenSea or us instead of LooksRare or any of the other larger ones out there? And the answer is because we're going to give you a much better experience from start to finish. And we're going to give you much better support. And it's a it's a great opportunity to be on the ground floor of something like that. Um, eh, I think that probably up until launch and probably even after launch for a little while, there's a lot of skepticism around what we're doing, because here we are a couple months into this and we don't have anything live yet. I've been giving a lot of previews to the team, to the testnet side and everything, but I know that there's probably a lot of people on the sidelines going, "Are these guys actually going to deliver?" And yeah, yeah, we are. So we'll see. We'll get out there. We'll show that we can make this happen. We'll show that the experience is going to be superior to anything else on the market, and and we'll just keep pushing. I mean, that's the other thing about myself is like, I, doing my best, but I'm also really a very competitive person, and competitive with myself. And when I see something out there that looks okay or has certain things about it that I don't like, I'll say I can do that. I can do better than that, and I'll push until it is. So it's going to be a grind. Um, there's going to be a lot of ups and downs going forward, but I'm confident that in the long run, we're going to have a nice slice of the DeFi pie, and marketplace is going to be just one of those elements of our pie.
I think all of us would like some pie.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I don't have any other questions tonight. I think we've taken about 45 minutes of the community's time, and your time, which I know is very, very valuable. So I really appreciate you being here. A huge shout out to the community who has been active in the chat all night. I just saw Dan popped up and he's here supporting as well. So thank all of you for being here. Charles, do you want to pop in any last words before we log off?
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We tried to launch last week. We had a couple of technical difficulties. We're trying to we're trying to make just a weekly show about Alpha for the community, like directly for the community by community members and by team members, with the team on here, with everybody on here that we can bring straight to you to bring you news, anything we can. Of course, when we have like announcements, we could do updates and things like that. So we just want to stay with you guys. Thanks for watching us tonight. And Edward Snowden tried to warn us, guys. Just keep that in mind. Charles out.
Thank you guys. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and thank you Chad and Charles and Dube on the tech side. I really appreciate you guys so much in this and in the project. So thanks again.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Doob, our technical specialist, great shout out for you. Thank you. And